Welcome back to Discovery with Miss Natalie. That's me. So today we are going to do a bunch of fun things with pumpkins. I know Halloween's over, but Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and I know that a lot of families love to have pumpkin pie, and some families even take just pumpkin seeds and they toast them and make them super yummy. So we're going to read a story about pumpkin seeds, and then we're also going to do a fun literacy activity using pumpkin seeds. So the story that I'm going to read today is called How Many Seeds in a Pumpkin? And it was written by Margaret McNamara and G. Brian Karras. So let's go ahead and join these new friends right here and see how many seeds are in a pumpkin. How Many Seeds in a Pumpkin? By Margaret McNamara and illustrated by G. Brian Karras. Charlie liked school. He liked his teacher, Mr. Tiffin. He liked his best friend, Alex. But he did not like lining up to go into school. Mr. Tiffin's class lined up by size, tallest to smallest or smallest to tallest. Charlie was the smallest in the class. Every time. There he is. There's Charlie at the very, very end. One chilly fall morning, Charlie was surprised to see 3 bright orange pumpkins on Mr. Tiffin's desk. One pumpkin was big, one pumpkin was medium, and one was small. How many seeds in a pumpkin? Mr. Tiffin asked the class. Does anybody know? Do you have a guess? Before we keep going, I want you all to make a guess and think about how many seeds do you think are in a pumpkin. Now remember, this one is super big and this one is super little down here. So do you think that all pumpkins have the same amount of seeds? Or do you think that a big pumpkin has more seeds than a little pumpkin? So go ahead and make your guess right now in your brain. Everyone have their guesses? How many seeds are in a pumpkin? Perfect, let's find out. Nobody knew, but everybody had ideas. The biggest one has the most, said Robert. I bet it has 1 million seeds. Robert was the tallest boy in the class. The medium one has 500, Eleanor said. Eleanor always sounded as if she knew exactly what she was talking about. The tiny one has 22, said Anna. Anna liked even numbers better than odd numbers. The next day, the kids in Mr. Tiffin's class brought in spoons for scooping and bowls for holding and plastic bags for throwing out. They covered the floor with newspaper. They put on their smocks. It's a messy business counting pumpkin seeds, said Mr. Tiffin, but the class was ready. After Mr. Tiffin cut a circle around each pumpkin stem, Kimmy, Alex, and Jake pulled off the caps. The children peered inside. This big one definitely has the most, said Robert. We'll see, said Mr. Tiffin. The pumpkin pulp was slimy and stringy, and the seeds were hard to get out. Did you do any carving of any pumpkins? Where you take the top off and then you take out all the insides? And what did it feel like? Did it feel cold or hot? Or was it scratchy or slimy? Or did it smell good or not smell too good? Sometimes people love the smell of pumpkin and other times people don't. When the children were furnished, there were 3 empty pumpkins, 3 full bowls, and 20 messy hands. Look at those hands. They have pumpkin juice all over them. Tomorrow we will find out the answer to our question, said Mr. Tiffin. Tonight your homework is to think about how we should count all the seeds. That is a lot of seeds in all of these bowls. They are filled. So now do you have a guess how many do you think there's in there? So you took a guess before. Do you think that the seeds in these 3 bowls are more or less than the amount that you're thinking in your head? You got your answer? Okay, let's find out. That afternoon, Mr. Tiffin dried the seeds. The next day, he put them in 3 paper bags marked big, medium, and small. Did you do your thinking homework? He asked the class. Yes, Alex said. I think we should just guess. I think we should count very, very carefully, said Tara. I think we should count by 2s, 5s, and 10s, said Molly. The class agreed that Molly had a good idea. Robert, Kimmy, and Jake all wanted to count the seeds in the big pumpkin by 2s. Anna asked if she could join them. We can be the 2s club, she said. They practiced counting. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, they said together. Jeremy, Tara, Eleanor, Molly, and Alex liked counting by 5. We'll count the seeds in the medium pumpkin, said Molly. We can be the 5s club. 5, 10, 15, 20, they cheered. I'll take the smallest pumpkin, said Charlie. I guess I'll be in the 10s club. Good idea, said Mr. Tiffin. 10, 20, 30, Charlie began. Soon there were many groups of seeds in front of each pumpkin. See them all on the table? There's all of these, and these right here, and these right here, and even more in the bag right there. So this is the 2s club. See, said Robert, the 2s club has the most. They had 170 pairs of seeds. That is so many. Look at all of those. All of them right there. The 5s club. So here's all of their groups of 5 seeds. We have lots too, said Eleanor. They had 63 groups of 5 seeds and 1 seed left over. The 10s club. So here's all the groups, and this little group right here has 10 seeds in it. Charlie had exactly 35 groups of 10 seeds. Robert looked at the seeds in front of Charlie. You don't have a whole lot, he said. Let's get counting, said Mr. Tiffin. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, began Robert, Kimmy, Jake, and Anna. It took a long time to count 170 pairs of seeds. My brain hurts, said Anna. The biggest pumpkin had 340 seeds. Almost a million, said Jake. The 5s were a little easier. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, chanted Jeremy, Tara, Eleanor, and Molly. There were 316 seeds in the medium pumpkin. Too bad for you, said Robert. It's not a contest, said Molly. So the biggest pumpkin had 340, and the medium pumpkin had 316, which is less than the biggest pumpkin. So far, the biggest pumpkin has the most seeds. Is that what you thought in the very beginning? That the biggest pumpkin would have the most? You did? Well, let's keep looking because we still need to know how many seeds are in the smallest pumpkin. The 10s were the fastest of all since there were just 35 groups. 10, 20, 30, 40, Charlie counted to himself. This can't be right, he said. What can't be right? Asked Mr. Tiffin. There are 350 seeds in my little pumpkin, said Charlie. That means it has the most of all. So it does, said Mr. Tiffin. Congratulations, Charlie, said Alex. The 10s club wins. It's not a contest, said Robert. So the smallest pumpkin, this itty bitty baby pumpkin that Charlie counted, had the most seeds. Did you think that it would have the most? I wouldn't have thought so. I would have thought that there'd be the most seeds in the biggest pumpkin. But Charlie's pumpkin right here, the smallest one, had the most seeds. Mr. Tiffin told the class to gather around. You can never tell just how many seeds are in a pumpkin until you open it up, he said, but there may be some clues. Take a good look at these. The class did. Charlie's is darker orange, said Anna, and it has more lines on the outside, said Robert. Yep, said Mr. Tiffin. For each line on the outside, there is a row of seeds on the inside. That's good to know, said Eleanor. And the longer the pumpkin grows, the more lines it gets, he added. Its skin gets darker too. So even though my pumpkin was the smallest, it was on the vine the longest, said Charlie. Exactly, agreed Mr. Tiffin. So that's a good way of knowing. You just gotta be a detective and look at the pumpkins. And you see how on these pumpkins there's all these lines right here? Well, the smallest pumpkin, Charlie's pumpkin, had the most lines, which tells you that it would have the most seeds because each line has a group of seeds on it. So next time that you go pumpkin looking, look at the pumpkins, see what color they are, look at how many lines you can see on the outside, and that might give you an idea of just how many seeds are inside. When it was time to go home, the class lined up by the door. Smallest to tallest this time, said Mr. Tiffin. Robert was at the back, Eleanor was in the middle, Charlie was at the front. Small things can have a lot going on inside them, Charlie said to Mr. Tiffin. And then they left the classroom, with Charlie leading the way. The end. Now there's a special part in this book because this book has a page at the end that is called Charlie's Pumpkin Facts. So let's learn a little bit more about a pumpkin. Number 1, pumpkin seeds are small but powerful. A whole huge pumpkin grows from a tiny seed. So all of those seeds that you see inside of a pumpkin, if you wanted, you can always take out those pumpkin seeds and you can either put them in your oven or you can just leave them on the counter and dry them out and then store them in a Ziploc baggie, and then you can keep them for the following year and plant those seeds, and a pumpkin will grow just from that pumpkin seed. Number 2, you can eat pumpkin seeds if you want, but you should ask somebody to roast them first. They contain lots of vitamin A. So pumpkin seeds are edible, but you don't want to eat them raw because that wouldn't be very tasty. So what a lot of people do is they roast them. So they either put them on the stove or they'll put them in their oven and they'll put spices on them. Sometimes they'll just add some salt and pepper and they'll cook them up and then they'll eat them. Number 3, if you plant pumpkin seeds, do it after the ground warms up in spring. You'll need a lot of space for them to grow. Pumpkins grow on vines. So some people think that they need to start planting their pumpkin seeds in the fall, but it takes way too long for them to grow if you just put them in when you want them, like a month later. So a lot of people will take those pumpkin seeds that they got from their pumpkin, dry them out, and when springtime comes, they'll plant them so they have plenty and plenty and plenty of time to grow. Number 4, it takes about 4 months for a pumpkin to grow to full size. So plant your seeds by June if you want a pumpkin for Halloween. Number 5, is a pumpkin a vegetable? No, it's a fruit. So the easiest way to tell between a vegetable and a fruit is whether or not they have a seed, because most fruits have seeds and vegetables do not. So that's the way that you can tell. Number 6, some pumpkins are small. I like those. Some pumpkins are really, really big. Usually big pumpkins don't taste very good. Small sweet pumpkins are the kind you should use to make a pumpkin pie. So when you go to the store, you'll see pumpkins that are super big, and those are great for carving. If you want to make a jack-o'-lantern, get the super big pumpkins. But if you wanted to make a pumpkin pie, they have pumpkins called pie pumpkins. And they're little pumpkins, just like what Charlie's was. A little pumpkin. And those ones are sweeter. So when you want to make a pumpkin pie, which is usually a little sweet, you want to use a pie pumpkin. Number 7, counting by 2s and 5s and 10s makes counting go faster. That's not really a pumpkin fact, but it's true. There you have it, all of Charlie's pumpkin facts. The end. Did you enjoy coming along this journey with Charlie and all of his friends, finding out how many seeds are in a pumpkin? Every pumpkin has a different amount of seeds, and just like we learned, you want to look at the lines that are on the pumpkin, and if it has a lot of lines, it'll have a lot of seeds, and if it doesn't have that many, it'll only have a few seeds. So there's a trick if you want to know where you can get the most pumpkin seeds. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do that fun literacy activity that I was telling you about, using pumpkin seeds. So I'm going to go ahead and get my table all set up and ready to go, and I will be right back and we will do our fun activity. Okay, so now I have everything ready for our super fun literacy activity. So what you're going to need is a white piece of paper, and I have cardstock paper because it's a little thicker, so try to find some cardstock paper. Again, ask your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle to help you. You're also going to need a bottle of glue. Make sure it's a bottle, not a glue stick. And then you're going to need pumpkin seeds that have been dried out. Now how you do that is you grab a pumpkin, scoop out all the pumpkin seeds, put them into what we call a colander, which is a strainer, and then you're going to get all the icky pumpkin juice off of them. And then you're going to put a handful of them into a Ziploc baggie and add in some food coloring drops with a little bit of water, and then squish, 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 squish it all around. Once you have all your colors, put it onto a baking pan. And now again, because you're using an oven for this, ask somebody to help you. But you're going to set your oven to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Put your pumpkin seeds that you've dyed onto a baking sheet and put it in the oven for about an hour and a half. This way it'll get all nice and dry so that we can use it for our activity. And for our activity, I made 4 different colors. So we have blue pumpkin seeds, we have green pumpkin seeds, we have red pumpkin seeds, and we have orange pumpkin seeds. So for our activity, go ahead and grab either a pen or a pencil, either one, and you're going to write your name on the piece of paper. And make sure you try to fill up as much space on your paper as you can. So go ahead and write your name. Make the letters nice and big. Just like that. So I wrote Natalie for me. And now what we're going to do is we are going to put glue over our letters. We're going to trace them, and then we're going to put on our pumpkin seeds so that we make our name in fun, bright, colorful pumpkin seeds. So go ahead and take your glue, and you're going to want to trace over the letters of your name. So just like this. Grab your glue bottle and do one letter at a time. Gently squeeze because you don't want too much glue coming out, and go over the first letter. Once you've done the first letter, stop. Now choose whichever color you want to use. So I'm going to do blue first, and you're just going to stick those pumpkin seeds right onto the glue. There we go. So now I have my first letter done. Now let's go on to the second letter. Again, grab your glue, trace around the letter that you made, and then go ahead and choose another color. This time I think I'm going to use green. And I'm just going to go ahead and put these green pumpkin seeds right onto my letter. There we go. And we're going to keep doing this. So you're just going to take your glue, trace over the letter that you made, choose a color, and go ahead and put it on. So next I'm going to use red. So there we go. Natalie, for Miss Natalie, which is me. And now, if you want, you can even practice writing your last name too. So if you know your last name and you've been practicing spelling and writing that name, go ahead and grab another piece of paper and you can do your last name as well. So I hope you enjoyed doing a fun activity with some pumpkin seeds and learning how to spell our name even more in an even more fun way with our cute, colorful pumpkin seeds. And remember, we're now posting our videos every other Friday at 2 p.m. So come on back in 2 weeks. Ask your mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, and uncle, brother, sister to help remind you. And if you would like to take a picture of your pumpkin seed creation with your name, and you can post it down below in the comment section. I would love to see all of your super pretty, colorful, vibrant pumpkin seed names. Have a wonderful weekend, and I can't wait to see you again soon.